We tend to, I think a lot of people tend to think of the Muslim community here as coming in the 60s and the 70s more recently, but actually, there are actually Muslim Canadians who've been in Ontario since the 1800s, 1850. And also to learn that the first Muslim parliamentarian anywhere in Canada was in the Northwest Territories. I think it's really important that political representatives like myself speak out against anti-Muslim hate, anti-Palestinian hate. I'm also trying to keep up, so it's also important for me to hear the stories that you share from people across this province and particularly around the GTA.
So my first question to you is, what did you think of the little girls that were causing problems during your speech?
I think those were your daughters.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahmed Ramadan for Muslim Network TV, and this is GTA Muslims Today. I have the pleasure of speaking to the leader of the official opposition party of the ONDP, Marit Stiles. We are here at the Islamic Heritage Month reception. Marit, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, well, it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
So my first question to you is, what did you think of the little girls that were causing problems during your speech?
I think those were your daughters, and they're wonderful. They're so cute, and they were really, they were dancing. They're going to show us all how to dance after this.
And we really appreciate the award that we got, or the recognition certificate that we got from the ONDP. So really appreciate it.
Well, you know what? It's really important to me that we recognize the contribution of community media, especially these days. Getting good news and information out to people is so important.
And this is part of our mission. We really want to try to, especially with GTA Muslims Today, to tell the stories of Muslim people around the city, cover the events that they're a part of. And I think there's actually so much to do that it's hard for us to keep up.
I mean, this is an incredible community. It's a very diverse community. I don't know how you keep up with any of it, but certainly it's for me. I'm also trying to keep up, so it's also important for me to hear the stories that you share from people across this province and particularly around the GTA.
So there's an exhibit here today. What was one of the things that surprised you about that exhibit that you learned?
Yeah, this was ISNA Canada put on an exhibit about the sort of history in Ontario of Muslim Canadians. And it was really interesting. I think one of the things that struck me was how far back that history goes. We tend to, I think a lot of people tend to think of the Muslim community here as coming in the 60s and the 70s more recently, but actually, there are actually Muslim Canadians who've been in Ontario since the 1800s, 1850. And I think it was really interesting to learn a bit more about that deep, long history. For example, I also learned that the first mosque in Canada was in Edmonton, Alberta. I had no idea. So really learned a lot today.
Especially considering how many Muslims there are in the GTA. It's
Yeah.
surprising a little bit to hear that it's in Edmonton, right?
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, I know they have a big community, but to know that that was where the first community was, and many years ago. But yeah, very interesting. And also to learn that the first Muslim parliamentarian anywhere in Canada was in the Northwest Territories back, I think, in the 1960s.
Yeah, that one shocked me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
no
one shocked
idea.
me as well. So what do you think about, you had this event here today. There was an incredible turnout. What does that tell you about how this is evolving?
Yeah, well, I think what it says to me is that Muslim Canadians, Muslim Ontarians really want their voices to be heard here in the Legislative Assembly. They want their priorities heard, and they're coming out in much bigger numbers all the time. And I think it also speaks to what I'm hearing from people all across the province, which is that people have a lot of frustration. They want to make sure that the government is focused on their priorities, and they're excited about the opportunity to be heard.
Are you seeing more engagement from the Muslim community recently?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Especially younger members of the community, I find, are really eager to be out there, to be heard. They're going to make sure that their voices are heard, their opinions are heard. And that's so important, especially since we know that, for example, youth unemployment in Ontario is at the highest rate in all of Canada. It's almost 20%. So we know that young people, Muslim, non-Muslim, are feeling a lot of frustration. So for me to see all of those young Muslim people coming here, wanting to be heard, more politically engaged, I think it really gives me a lot of hope for the future.
So this has been a very nice event. People are really enjoying it. So I don't want to dwell too much on anything negative, but I just want to ask, because people have been concerned about Islamophobia and anti-Palestinian racism. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I think about the attack in the supermarket, the swarming that happened in Oshawa, these are continuing to be very concerning and violent incidents. And I think it's really important that political representatives like myself speak out against anti-Muslim hate, anti-Palestinian hate, and it's going to be even more important when we bring forward some new legislation. We had introduced it before. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to expand the scope of it. We're going to try to make sure that we address these issues in our schools, in education, in post-secondary institutions, and in every aspect of society. But it's very, very important that politicians of all political stripes are standing together again against anti-Muslim hate.
And I think your last point is very important. I mean, obviously, all of it is, but it's important for all different parties to speak up about this and about the hate. So let's end it off on a nicer note. Did you get an opportunity to eat any of the food?
By the time I got there, I think all the food was gone. But I did get some treats earlier this morning at the reception, and I will always make room for any of the food that was here tonight. Next time I'll have to get there earlier, though. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I really
Oh, it was my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thank you.
You.
I'm Ahmed Ramadan for GTA Muslims Today. Assalamu alaikum.